How's Your Ground Game podcast. I'm Damoon, and joining me is Birdman down in Vero Beach.
Thumbs up.
Who's got a new puppy patrol going on?
Yes. Little possum pecker.
It's going to be his first day on the mats.
First day on the mats today.
All right. Very cool. How's everything going down at the Wash and Fold?
Going well. I got my first summons from the county.
What was that for?
I have to pay a sign tax. No idea what that is.
Do you have a sign?
I have a decal in the window.
Is it expensive?
I got to go down and talk to them. Like all this, they sent me all this paperwork with statute numbers, and I'm like, they're like, well, you put up a sign illegally. I'm like, no, I put a decal in the front window. It's like, then they're like, well, who's your electrician? Who's your contractor? I'm like, I put a decal in the window. We have to have proper setback from the street, and there's certain wattage and power. I'm like, yeah, it's a decal in the window. So they seem very, very nice, the people I spoke to. So I think I just got to go down there and show them some pictures and say, hey, is it a tax? What's a tax? But,
Right. It's just
there was no construction. There was no electricians. There was nothing. Nothing was altered from before other than there being a sticker in the window.
I guess you're a legit business now.
Yeah, if I got a summons, then I'm legit. I exist.
Anything else new going on in the Jiu-Jitsu world?
Let me think. It's just same old, Gymnastica, Jiu-Jitsu.
Have your white belts found the YouTubes yet?
What's that?
Have your white belts found the YouTubes yet?
They have.
How's that going?
Occasionally I'll get somebody will text me a snippet or a clip from social media, and I have the standard response, which is, I now feel less intelligent after watching this. Please don't send me any more.
Have they started trying anything during rolls?
No, because I think they get it now about what we do and how it's different than what other people do. And I always tell them, hey, if you don't want to do this, you want to do something else and still pay me, fine, do it. But
Right.
Don't complain to me when it doesn't work and everybody else is, whooping on you. That's your doing, not mine. So I think they all get it. And I've kind of really fine-tuned how I teach the white belts now. We're doing my guy is crying like crazy. We're doing all defensive stuff. Like bottom of side control, bottom of mount, pass from the guard. There he is, the deuce. First time on the interwebs. Crying like a white belt. Crying like a blue belt.
Crying like a white belt that wants his blue belt.
Crying like a blue belt who thinks he's really a blue belt.
Yeah, it's as the school grows larger, I like it when people look up stuff on YouTube because it gives the more disciplined students an opportunity to learn how to defend those things. And it becomes like a flash in the pan. You have success with it once or twice, and then everybody else learn from your whatever you decide to, whatever trick you pulled out of your pocket. Everyone else learns from it, and then you're 3 weeks behind your training because you've been spending time on something that had no lifespan.
Yeah, I think the guys get it because there are some people who've come in to try different things, and it's just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think for the most part, everybody, the white belts get it, and they're being very good white belts. I have to say that. There's no mass stupidity going on yet, but I'm staying hopeful that there won't be.
At some point, you're gonna have to face the reality of blue belts, John.
I know. It keeps me up at night. I'm not ready for that.
We need a support group.
Yeah, we need a toll-free number that I can call.
Yeah.
These blue belts. Hopefully they'll be different than how I think blue belts are acting now. Hopefully I'll have a new breed of special blue belts that understand they're still on the bottom of the food chain.
I mean, you do have a lot of black belts on the mat over there, so
Yeah, so a lot of punishments will get dropped down, which I'm okay with. People got to get whooped up a little bit to get back in line. Hey, I can always look the other way.
it's yeah, it's
Now, how are
the
you dealing with blue belts up there?
circle of life. I like most of my blue belts. I think 99% of the blue belts are homegrown. So, like you said, you can mitigate a lot of the problems. Um, they're tough. I'm actually really the blue belts on the mat right now are really tough. They're giving the upper belts a lot of problems.
Okay.
And
Now, are they? Let me ask a question. Are
yeah,
they tough because they're tough, or are they tough because they're real big?
no, I think the blue belts I have right now, for the most part, are tough because they're tough.
Okay,
We
that's
focus a
good.
lot on defending and not getting submitted as white belts.
Okay.
And but you get your blue belt and you want to try some stuff out, and you can move the white belts around a little bit more confidently. So you saw a little something online, you want to try something, you have a little success with it. So a lot of guys are starting to experiment, uh,
Okay.
which you can only keep there. Sometimes you got to go with it and you got to say, hey, that's a good idea. There's some good principles in that you should hold on to. Sometimes it's like, hey, man, let me show you why that doesn't work. And you just got
Hey,
to.
man, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. That's what I usually say.
But,
Really?
but thankfully, nothing. There's things that might not be necessarily good jujitsu or good fundamental jujitsu, but thankfully, nothing dangerous. No one's coming in with anything. No flying bicep slicers yet,
Well, I mean, a lot of times it's dangerous for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm more worried about the person getting hurt than hurting someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the classic example, or like what's been around the longest, was when rubber guard got really popular from 10th Planet, and people were trying to pull their knees in too far on like the Sean Williams guard, and you're hurting yourself for no reason.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Rubber guard.
absolutely.
Are your bones made of rubber? No, then don't do it.
You got to listen to your body a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, blue belts will be blue belts. They're gonna explore. They're gonna play with stuff, and again, it's good for everybody else also, as long as it's kept in moderation, because you got to learn how to deal with some of those things. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's good.
So also, I'm in the other house now.
You are in the other house now.
Yes.
How's that coming along?
It's coming along, working. So I'm
The
here today.
wallpaper is the wallpaper new?
It was here when you were here.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So in reference to the house, yes, it's new to the house, but it's not, new like new.
It's been there for a while. Got it.
It's been there
Yeah.
for probably maybe a year.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
You
it.
guys, you guys have internet and everything set up there too?
Got internet,
Internet and a laptop.
a laptop. I got a cell phone. I got air conditioning is on. What more could you want? What
Right.
more could you want?
We also have new to the gym. I'll send out a special shout out to Constantinopolis. Mr. Constantine himself has rejoined the ranks.
Emperor armbar.
Emperor Armbar. So it's really nice to have him on the mats with us as well now.
Very good, very good. I
Yeah.
was hoping he'd fill him up again.
Yeah, so I can breathe easy now, knowing that my department of training efficiency has now opened. He can tell people they're using too much strength and need to be more efficient. It'll be great.
Okay, good, good. You gotta have departments, right? You
You gotta have departments.
gotta have memos, departments, all that shit.
All right, so let's get into it. So the topic that was requested for today was discussing something that neither of us have any experience with, which is coming back from serious injuries.
Well, we have history in serious injuries, but we don't have history in time off. from
That's right.
serious injuries.
Right. Right. And I want to specifically differentiate it. There's a difference between when we're coming back to training after taking time off because of life or work, babies, moving, school shuts down, COVID, whatever. And then there's a different element when people are coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll just start off with that. The prime, I think, concern was I get back on the mat. Let's say I hurt my elbow. I don't trust my elbow. How do I roll? How do I protect it? What steps do I take? Do I got to tell my instructor? Do I got to tell the person I'm rolling with? Do I not use the arm? Where do we start?
Well, I mean, you tell your partner that your elbow hurts, they're going to go after your elbow. I mean, it's just, and even if it's not intentional, they're just, they don't think.
I find that it's like a subconscious thing. We talked about your elbow, so now in the back of my mind, your elbow's
Yeah.
on my mind. So I'm just thinking
Yes.
about it. I'm going to go there.
And people will tell me, "Oh, this is injured." I'm like, yeah, well, what do you want me to do? Okay, you want me to just hover around you when you roll and jump in if someone ever, and there's nothing I can do. You either roll or you don't roll. That's how I look at it. And if you want to be kind of half in, that's up to you. That's fine. If you want to go with somebody, say we're doing half speed with this, or that, that's absolutely fine. But you shouldn't go to the deep end of the pool with that and expect the mediators to,
So what I'm hearing and what I think a little bit is it's always on you to protect your own arm. Just because you verbalize, don't
yes,
go after my arm, you can't trust the other person to, just because
no,
you verbalize it.
you can trust the other person to do something to your whatever body part is injured. That's the only thing you can trust. Is they're gonna go after it, whether it's by design or not. They're gonna, they're. You said your left arm, yeah, my left, not your left. It's I went after the wrong one.
That being said, probably good idea to choose your training partners. I think this is a good time to be, there's sometimes you should roll with whoever, but sometimes maybe it's smart to be a little
Yeah,
bit picky about who you roll with.
yeah, and also it's not all about rolling, okay? And I've told this, the gymnastica naturale is, you're getting jujitsu reps by working it, and just grab somebody and drill a guard pass, drill a hip, a side control escape, just drill things. Not everything has to be live rolling every day. If you need some time off, don't take time off from drilling. Take time off from rolling live, right? If your elbow is hurt and you're drilling a guard pass, I doubt you're going to get armbarred, right?
Right.
You roll live, anything can happen.
Right.
Your your elbow could be hurt and you're protecting that and you get your teeth knocked out with a knee. So anything can happen at any time. So that's when you touch hands, that's what you have to understand, that you're not safe, that anything can happen. And it's maybe you're nursing an elbow, but maybe you get your ACL blown out with a heel hook. So
because you're not defending it because your arm is elsewhere, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because you're so worried about your elbow, you're protecting that, and you leave something else wide open. So you should have a plan. We always talk about the plan, right? The roadmap to recovery. That's today. So, as an instructor, I would tell students, give it a couple weeks of, whether you're doing like physical therapy, icing it, massage gun, are you wearing a compression while you're doing things, and just drill. That's the safest thing for the longevity of a student, especially a newer student. You don't want them to get hurt seriously and be off the mats, right?
yeah.
So as an instructor, that's always my advice. For me personally, fuck it. I'm going to roll. I don't give a shit. It hurts. It might hurt a little more tomorrow. It might hurt a little less. Right? I know how to tap. Okay, if it gets in trouble.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm just gonna roll through it. I don't care. It hurts. It's already hurt. Chances are it's not gonna get hurt much worse. It may take longer to not hurt so much to recover, but I put the weight of uh, the duration of pain versus getting jujitsu better. Right? It's gonna hurt for 4 months if I roll. It's gonna hurt for 2 months if I don't roll. Yeah, I'll take the extra 2 months of pain to make my jujitsu better. That's me. I'm not telling you to do that, but that's just me. That's an adult decision I make.
No, I guess it also depends on the severity of the injury, right?
Yeah.
Like a sprained wrist, or like a little tendonitis in the elbow or something you can work with. But for some of us, a torn ACL, I know we were discussing before,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, torn ACL, even if you can deal with the pain, probably not the best idea.
Yeah. Like I said, I tore my ACL in 2009. Never had it fixed. Never stopped rolling, never had it fixed. I'm still here. Yeah, I walk a little goofy, but who cares?
Do you have any advice for when people make that transition? Okay, so they've been drilling, they've been nursing it, the pain is whatever, the injury is mostly recovered, but now they want to roll, but they're still in their mind, regardless if the injury is back to 100%. Let's say it's at 90%, 95%. It's in the back of their mind. Oh, the last time I got hurt, I did this forward roll, my arm got stuck. What are some ways to like build that confidence to get comfortable?
Well, what I would tell them is if you have that in your head, don't roll. Right? If that's going to be the focus of your thought, you have to be all the way on the gas or all the way on the brake. Because if you're kind of thinking half and half, you're not thinking jiu-jitsu. You're thinking more physical therapy. You're thinking all other things, and you're thinking recovery and injury. You're not thinking about jiu-jitsu. So why roll if you're not going to be thinking about jiu-jitsu? If all you're going to do is protect your injury because you're unsure of it, you don't trust it, then don't roll. Because you're not. What jiu-jitsu are you learning in that case?
Right.
Right? You're not. So you just got to say, screw it, I'm in, and I'm not going to think about it. I'm just thinking about jiu-jitsu. I'm thinking totally about the roll while I'm rolling. Not going to worry about my elbow or this or that. If you're worrying about that, you're getting nothing done, and you might hurt something else. So you're either all in or all out. That's just me.
Okay.
What do you think?
No, I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Is when you go in and you're only thinking about that one part of the body. I think if you're an advanced student, like if I was to roll with a hurt elbow and I'm protecting my arm, those rolls, depending on who I roll with, but if someone's giving me an honest roll, or I'm rolling with someone who's gonna give me a tough time, I'm just getting a cardio workout out of that roll. I'm just drilling a little bit of what I know, and I'm getting a sweat on, right? Maybe if I'm rolling with someone where I can control the roll with just one arm and two legs, I can work the opposite side of things I normally do, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
For most people, if you're a blue belt or even a purple belt, especially if you're a white belt, where you don't get to decide how the roll goes on a general basis, right? You can't try something new with limited utility, right? So all you're doing is you're getting a sweat on. You're gonna feel like you did something because you're working, but like you said, maybe just get some extra reps in with drilling until you're ready to go.
Yeah, you just have to, especially you have surgery, trust that the work was done. If you took the time and the energy for rehab and to get the surgery, trust it's better than it used to be. You just have to have a little faith in things.
Is that, and you've had experience with like wipeouts and accidents in like extreme sports?
Yeah.
Right. What was it like? You do a trick or you go off a ramp and you eat it really bad. How do you build your mind up to doing it again?
It's when you pack bad, you got a good 5-10 minutes of shock. So I would try to get as many reps of the trick I just crashed in. Because okay, it's probably not gonna hurt any worse. I know my body's in shock, so let me try it a couple times more and see if I can hit it or learn something.
What about when you go home and you come back the next day and you see that ramp and you're like, oh, that one hurt bad? How do you get over that hump?
It's you just do it. I
You
mean,
just
it's
got to do
just
it.
it's either in you or it's not.
Got it.
You have to have, you know, if you have confidence in what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier. So, okay, that was just an anomaly. It just happens. Things happen. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to happen again right now, but now we're venturing into this, I guess, the sports psychology
Yeah.
end of things. But so your elbow injury might not need physical therapy, it might need mental therapy
Sure.
to
Right.
get past that. And I'm not saying that in a mean way or a negative way, but maybe everyone's different, and some people are more cautious than me. I'm not a cautious person. It's just how I was built, I guess. Consequences in a way. But yeah, it's just that's how I look at things, and that's just me. But everybody's different, and if you're more worried about, oh well, I have to get to work, I have to do this, I have to, you know, all the things that you foresee yourself doing, and you don't want to like be hindered by a big injury. It's like, well, you either got to kind of get right with it if you want to be on the mats, or maybe you're not going to be so dedicated to this life, right?
Right. So maybe it's a good time to just reevaluate and say, hey, this is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, it's where we're at.
It's where we're
What
at.
do you? If this is your passion, what do you reevaluate? What do you want out of this?
Right.
What do you want to get out of this? So I think, as leading up to this conversation, I was thinking it was all, the physical aspect, but now I'm thinking it's more mental.
I mean, there's definitely there's the physical aspect, obviously, but there is a big mental aspect. If
Huge.
we've had, uh, you know, I had a training partner years ago who got his foot hurt, Tim, who got his foot leg locked in, someone snapped a leg lock from a bad position in a tournament,
Yes.
and he popped his ankle. The guy didn't even give him a chance to tap,
Yeah.
and he was out for a long time, months.
Yeah.
And even when he started training again, he wore like a sleeve on his ankle, or like a little,
No
even
brace. Yeah, I remember that.
even until a few years ago. I don't know if he still does it today, and anytime someone would grab his leg, he would tap really early.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I think, a fair response as well. But definitely when these things happen, and again, depends on your relationship with the sport, but it's not worth it to walk around with a limp for 6 months, especially depending on your job, your life, whatever,
Yeah.
just to try to defend a submission in the gym, right?
Yeah, on like a random Tuesday night.
Yeah, right. So, there's always, sometimes you're a little bit more cautious, sometimes you're too cautious, and you need to work on that. But yeah, definitely a time to. It creates like a little bit of emotional, like.
Yeah, there's a mental block there that's gonna, I mean, race car drivers, after they crash, are they the same?
It's tough.
Tough, right?
Yep.
Real tough.
You go back to that same track, you go back to that same turn, and all of a sudden you can't hit it with the same confidence, right?
Yeah. All of a sudden, 211 miles is really fast. But yeah, it's there. I think, yeah, the big part of being off with an injury is mental more than physical. Now I'm really starting to see that now, because I'm thinking like, mentally it doesn't bother me, and I don't think it bothers you,
Not
but
really.
other people it really does, and that's just because we're all different people. And maybe if I had played a different sport, I'd be the same thing with that.
Right.
Whatever.
Hey, it depends on also the severity of the injury and how it affected your life, but yeah, definitely. I just real briefly, also want to just switch the gears and talk about the other side. So if you are on the mat and there's someone you haven't seen in a while, especially if you're an upper belt, and they sit down in front of you and you're about to roll with them, and they very obviously had an injury, they're limping or they're holding their arm and
Yeah. Or they got 7 miles of tape around their hand.
yeah, just and they're trying to tough it out, whether it's the right decision or not. Maybe just play super defensively.
Yeah, I mean, there's always if you know, yeah, you gotta read the room
Yeah,
when you get to be a little higher in the belt. Just like just somebody's got a hurt shoulder or something, let them take your back.
exactly.
Just
Yes.
don't arm drag the shit out of them.
No,
Just let
absolutely.
them take your back. Just have work. Yeah, if work better at escaping from bad positions. Okay, even if you're better than that person, still work your bad positions. Let them control the. If they're the person with the injury, let them control the pace. Let them control the position. Right.
Yeah,
Then if they get hurt, that's on them.
right.
You did everything you could. So, we are a team. We're kind of like a family on the mats. So yeah, if if you have people with an injury, and then again, there's the people we've seen these. They come in with the injury, or say they have the injury, or they get hurt on the mat on the third roll, and they tell you, "Oh, I'm this and that," and then they come at you guns a blazing. Well, then you gotta, give it back to them a little bit.
Right. You gotta defend yourself if they're
Yeah,
again
we've seen those people, right?
yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, if you know somebody has an injury, take one for the team. Just play defense. Let them have their day. Don't hurt. Don't. And if they're hurt, they're gonna only get their only way they can hurt them is to hurt themselves, right?
Have you ever worked with someone who's got like a not just an injury but like a handicap? They're missing an arm, missing a leg.
I have. Years ago, a guy who had an arm that really didn't work right. There's something wrong with it, and yeah, he's really good. It didn't change a lot.
How did you approach teaching in that situation? Because like you're showing a technique that is cookie cutter. Should everybody in the room should be able to do it, but obviously it's going to need modifications if you're handicapped
Yeah,
or if you
yeah,
missing some of the tools.
yeah. I would just find a way for that person to create the angle, create the pressure that works for them. And it's not the easiest, or you say, hey, this technique is kind of close, but you're going to be able to hit this one. The other one might be a little difficult for you. You're going to try this one. Everybody else is going to try the other one. Just modify it, put something different in there. They get it. That's not their, they know things aren't going to work for them. So they're pretty comfortable and okay with, modifications. So yeah, this guy was okay with, techniques, and here's things he knew he couldn't do. So he
Right.
would just kind of do the best he could.
I think that's probably also an important mindset to take in when you're coming back from an injury is just to be a little patient. Like if
Do what you can.
yeah,
You don't have to come. First of all, you're not going to be where you were when you left off.
right.
So if you think you are, that's just an illusion. You're fooling yourself. You have to kind of backtrack a little bit and start slow. And that's up to the student, not the instructor at this point.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not in your head. I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're 78% or 84%.
Yeah.
We had this guy with Jamie's, we called him Weird Beard, and he would come on the mats and he would say, Jamie, I'm at 83% today. Oh, okay. Like a week later, Jamie, I'm at 88% today. He always had this not even I could say 50%, 75%, something like that. He had this I'm 71% today. It's like, How do you know it's 71%? That's
Man,
why we call them. That's why we call them weird beard.
I wish I knew what percentage I was before I started rolling.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No,
No, it doesn't.
you're
So
gonna
the percentage of your recovery is kind of irrelevant. You either have it or you don't.
right,
And even if you're 100%, you're still probably not 100% because you're talking physically.
right.
If the proper would be two numbers, right?
What are you feeling, and how's your body feeling?
Yeah, I'm 75% physically and I'm like 20% mentally.
Right,
And that's probably close to what the ratio is.
and
Your body will certainly heal before your ego and your emotions and your psyche and your machismo and whatever other word we could put in here is gonna be a little bit behind your body healing.
no, absolutely. The fluctuations we have, even in within a week of our training, where one day I feel really strong, one day I feel weak, one day I'm top of the world, one day I can't hit anything. That's probably more mental fluctuation than physical fluctuation.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's some days where I feel I should start fucking digging a hole to put me in. And other days I feel fantastic.
Right?
But it's just you gotta. I work with what I got now,
Yeah.
and it's. But you're never 100% physically or mentally. I don't care who you are. You're never 100%. Right?
Now I'm going to ask you a question specifically to John, the instructor, not to Birdman, the practitioner, right? Because
Ah,
I think again we'll have very different opinions of how we would answer this question for ourselves and for our students. And I think there's a lot of different ways or times this question could be asked, but in the context of injury, is there ever a time, or let me rephrase it, what do you feel about if mid-roll I have an injury with my elbow and this person just keeps going after the arm? What do you think about just stopping the roll, saying, hey, I'm done, and just taking the rest of the round off?
as John the instructor, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you feel you're physically, emotionally, whatever unsafe, tap, just walk,
Yeah, yeah. I need a break. I need
break.
five. I need a break. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. You know, it's not you. It's not you. It's me.
Right, right.
So yeah.
So yeah, if you're coming back from something serious,
Yeah. Hey, I need it. I'm done.
yeah,
Yeah. If your safety is ever in jeopardy, or if you feel your safety or your recovery is in jeopardy, get out. It's gonna happen. Nothing. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you.
right,
No
yeah,
one's gonna think. No one's gonna think less. Yeah, this guy's coming back from an injury,
yeah.
and he's rolling with a knucklehead who's just not working with him. Of course, you pull yourself out of there.
What would you tell yourself in that situation?
You really want to know?
I think I know the answer because I think I'd have the same answer, but
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I'm thinking I got a ball peen hammer in the trunk of my car, and I'll see you in the parking lot. If
sometimes
I told the person that I was injured in my elbow and they kept going after that elbow, and it literally, if I could not give it to him on the mat, yeah, I'd come after him with a ball peen hammer because it's bullshit. Yeah, there are guys like that out there, and they deserve what they get. You get heel hooked and you get your knee blown out because you're doing that. Hey,
right.
you want to dance? You got to pay the band, my friend.
That is a warning shot to the blue belts out there who see the brown belt coming back from a knee injury or an elbow injury or something. It is
Yeah,
not your opportunity to go after them
yeah,
because other people will come after you much worse.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna get messed up. Sorry, that's how the world works. We're supposed to be adults, civil people trying to help each other at the gym. You step out of line, Uncle Derek is going to pay you a visit. Uncle Nicky is
Uncle
going to
Nick,
come see you.
Uncle Nicky. That's it. Um, any other thoughts about people returning from injuries, how they should approach training? I mean, again, we're talking specifically about that transition of going from drilling and then you're stepping into the cage, you're rolling, not
Yeah.
literally stepping into the cage.
Well, first and foremost, you have to prepare yourself for being out of shape, right? You're not going to come back right where you are. You're not going to be beating the people you were beating before. You're not going to be doing as well against the same people. And you're going to have to, eat it from lower belts for a little while because you're just coming back. You just got to accept it.
Yeah.
That just because you're a higher belt doesn't mean it's a guarantee that you're going to win every exchange, especially coming back from an injury. You have to just kind of temper your ego a little bit and say, okay, it's going to happen. I got to suck it up. But, work towards that goal of getting back to where you were and then go from there. But don't think, because a lot of people come back from an injury and they're just pissed off because they're, the room has kind of passed them by a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And that's when people start to disappear because their ego can't handle it. Now I'm behind. What if I re-injure this? Then I'll be really behind, right?
Yeah.
That's where that mental goes from 30% to 20%, right? Because you're constantly thinking about that. I can't allow this to get hurt because if I miss more time, I'm going to be further behind than I am now. And is anyone ever really behind in jiu-jitsu?
No.
No, absolutely not. I started years before you started. Do you feel like you're behind because of that?
No.
No. Okay. Somebody takes off 6 months because they blew their knee out. They come back, they have to rebuild. But do they suddenly feel like, I know they'll feel that, but technically, are they really behind anybody else?
No.
No, it's all in your head and how you perceive it. It's not it's not an arms race, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
where we're stacking up warheads, and then when you blow your ACL, half your warheads come off the table, and now it's right. People see it as that, it's, oh, I've lost this, I've lost that, I've lost time. If you lost time because of an injury, it's because you weren't creative enough to do the work in another way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have spent, I'm going to use Jonathan, right? He had a shoulder injury.
All right. Yeah.
He was better when he came back than before he went to surgery.
He was drilling. He was doing gymnastica.
He was doing gymnastica. He was coming to classes and watching and listening, taking notes. He was reviewing all his old notes, and he was involved. I think he missed like 2 days, like after the surgery. He didn't feel so well. And then he was in every class. And when he came back, when he finally got the green light, he'd been doing walking. He may have been doing some running, some cardio stuff. His cardio was fine. He, really was, I think he came back better than when he left because the rest of his body healed along with his shoulder. And he really got to focus on the techniques and just analyzing and watching, listening, all that. Constantine, when he hurt his knee, remember?
Yeah.
He came back. He was like, boom.
His upper body was completely jacked.
Yeah. Well, if your legs are hurt, do pull-ups and push-ups.
That's right.
Right? If you just sit there and complain about it and watch matches on YouTube and get angry and, order pizzas and don't do anything, and then you come back and expect to be where you were, you're delusional. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you should be doing something. Go to classes. Oh, it'll bother me so much being on the mats and not being able to train. I call bullshit on anybody who says that. Right? Bullshit. You go there, in your street clothes, and you listen. Until that day, you can put that gi on, right? You put the gi on and you sit there and listen. And you pay attention. And then there's that day, like, okay, I'm going to try and drill this. You cannot interrupt your patterns, your schedule. keep on the same schedule. So if you train from 6 to 7:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you have an injury, you take that 6 to 7:30 and you do whatever you can to make your jiu-jitsu better. If it's reading notes, talking to a friend about jiu-jitsu, showing up at the class, and just watching and listening. If that's all you can do is watch and listen, that is your training. But don't interrupt your training. Don't interrupt your schedule, because you're going to wind up replacing that time with something else. Right?
Yeah. And that's going to be hard to get it back again.
Yeah, now say, oh, I got to come up with a whole new schedule and this and this and that. Right? If you're out, you take your class schedule you're on and you keep it, even if you're not going to the gym, you keep it jiu-jitsu related. I don't care if you're home and you put your gi pants on and you watch YouTube on the floor. If that's where you have to start, start there. But just don't kind of replace that time with, watching whatever stupid show you watch, right? Oh, I'm going to watch this show on those days because now I have that free time. It's not free time. It's only free time if you make it free time.
Right.
Okay. But then when you come back, that's because you didn't utilize your time wisely when you were off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I experienced that personally during COVID.
Right?
There was a big difference between people who made an effort to stay connected, whether it's just gymnastica or hip escapes or rolls or
whatever. We're at the park. Remember, we went to the park?
We went to the park, right? There's a little bit of any port in a storm, right? Anything we could.
Whatever you can.
And then, after some time when people started getting on the mats again, or however long that was for different people, but then made a difference how much effort you put in, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But you can't expect to rebound from an injury without putting some work in on your own.
Absolutely.
If you just sit home and do nothing and then come back and then get pissed off because you feel you've been left behind, then that's on you. It's not on your instructor. It's not on your training partners for waiting for you. All right, no one train till so-and-so comes back because they want to be at the same level.
Doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that.
I think one other thing I'll throw out there as a closing thought is for people coming back from injuries, you got to have some patience with your body. You put your toe in, however you decide to start rolling, whatever parameters you put for yourself to get comfortable. It's not always going to go as expected, right? You might think you're at 95%, but really your body's at 80, or you might be at 95%, but no matter what you do, you can't get it out of your mind. Like, it might take a few tries, or it might take longer than expected to get full confidence or whatever. But I think patience is really important in jiu-jitsu, and it's really important to have that patience with your body as well.
Yeah. And you also have to be a little forgiving to yourself.
Forgiving, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of getting, oh, I suck, I this. No, just revert back to your patience. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame, anything. This happened. Right?
Yeah.
You can either work with it or you can work against it.
Yeah, and it's an important lesson. Even if nothing happens, we get older, we get slower, we get weaker, right? We need to adapt to go with that. So sometimes,
Shit, some days I got to take a nap. Right?
Yeah.
If the body wants sleep, the body gets sleep.
That's it, right? And our jiu-jitsu needs to adapt to that. We can't keep forcing our bodies to do the jiu-jitsu we want it to do. Sometimes it's a result of an injury. Sometimes it's age. Sometimes it's other factors, whatever it is. But, you can't try to force something that's not.
Suppose you have a stomach disorder and your diet's all thrown off, right?
Yeah.
You have to now roll differently because you don't consume the same amount of calories.
Sure.
You have to act differently because, everything's not in flux until you get it all figured out.
Yeah.
Right? Anything. It could even be asthma, allergies, anything. You have to be, like you said, patient with yourself and just every day is going to be a little different. Every day is going to be a little challenging. And every day you just got to look for just a little victory. Right?
Yeah.
Be nice to yourself about things. I went about 45 minutes without feeling like I was going to throw up. I'll take that as a win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's I think actually what I like about fresh white belts is their milestones are much more clear. I made it through all 3 rounds of rolling today. I didn't have to take a break during drilling today, right? And I think you have to revert to that a little bit when you're coming back from an injury. Like, oh, I survived a round without tapping today.
Not only that, as a hobbyist in jiu-jitsu, that should be your entire duration.
That's it.
Your goals should be kind of realistic to what you're getting out of this.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be pulling the same comp rounds as, all the 25-year-old IBJJF black belts who are, going to the Pan Ams, right?
Yeah.
Why?
You want to be walking when you're in your 50. They may not care so much, right?
Yeah. It's like me trying to get the same amount of batting practice as someone in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Why would I need to do that? I'm not a baseball player. I'm not a professional player. How is that going to benefit me at all?
No.
It's not. Okay? You have to figure out what benefits you in your role in whatever, whether it be jiu-jitsu or, I don't know, water polo or whatever the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
What benefits you personally the most? Not what you read about on the internet about jiu-jitsu player X, how they came back from their knee surgery. Right? Because it's probably BS to begin with. There's probably a lot of cortisone and TRT and special sauce in there too that they're not talking about.
Of course.
But you don't want to. You're probably not going to be on the same road as anybody else in your recovery. Your path is going to be your path. And you can't let that be dictated by anybody. And you just have to be a little more self-aware. You have to be a little more conscious of, maybe for the first time, of what's going on with your body.
So that's a good lesson for us all.
It is.
All right. On that note, I think we'll wrap up here. Any
wrap it up
thoughts about jiu-jitsu, Florida, wash and fold?
Florida's great. Puppies are great. Deuce.
Shout out, just a quick reminder that the Birdman clinics in Vero Beach are starting up again, or they're on the schedule. And if anyone wants more info, they can look at the Wash and Fold website. They can hit you up on Instagram. They can comment on the YouTube video.
We got some people. I think we got some people booked in April coming down, and it's looking good. The weather here is great. 76, 77 degrees out today. Sun is shining. Palm trees are gently swaying. The ocean is rolling. The deuce is looking to bite my face.
The deuce is living the life.
The deuce is living the life. Deuce.
All right.
Easy. Look at this, guys. Come on, buddy. All right, my man.
Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We'll catch you guys next time.